Hello all. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome all to one more Friday night live. Streaming online and teachings and meditation. See what we can make it. Well, and as we all in retreat by now, we must be used to it, or no, or panic, or growth. Uh, and This last 2 weeks was very intense in here in the United States and reflect all over the world. That situation of the George Floyd, the death, that's, triggered so much anxiety because people feel by the pressure being in retreat, being in seclusion. And the main sign and was kind of, you know, um, how they call Black Lives Matter. And then people always try to say all lives matter in that way. But then people, when they say Black Lives Matter, because when you say to me all lives matter, but say, well, but not looks like, because I feel different pressure on it, different, level of, clarity or despair and so forth and so on. So in this world, I have so much difficult to understanding that, and when we put those two phrases all together, what kind of awareness we have in this meaning? Because some sometimes apply, which is, I guess I got froze. Yeah, sometimes, and I got froze a little bit. Sometimes uh, people have different view. That's awareness. That should be the topic for today. Last week we talked on awakening as a process, awakening the mind. So we have been giving awakening the mind teachings, and and then to bring the clarity on it, what that mind awakening is. And we're talking about Buddha being awakened, the one has been awakened. And yet we have so much prejudice about words. Whoa, I'm not about this. What are you talking about? I don't know. Whatever, at least as we put all together. But in reality, what that teaching is about, what try to bring that process of awakening, is to bring clarity in our awareness. What that means. As we be able to see reality, what the phenomena is, the phenomena of being the I, the functional phenomena, so of speaking. And then we understand existency, what is not, and how we apprehend that, how we cognize that, how to have a consciousness which really comprehend that object and cognize that properly. Because sometimes we become aware of the object. Oh, etc. But how is it cognized? If that cognition is poison, generate afflictions. And then we get trapped into that. We don't know how to get out of that thing. So that's where, in order to hold that object, in order to have a good relationship to that object, in order to cognize better or reframing the way we has been cognizing that, understanding that reality in relation to it, we need to have a stable mind. And that stable mind comes from the concentration meditation. We need to put the mind in that object, hold the mind there, build that concentration. Consequently, that will bring tranquility, will strengthen the mind. Strengthen the mind for what? For us to be in there and then be able to engage. I I understand that phenomenon. I understand what's going on. I'm conscious about that. What level of understanding or cognition I have of that awareness and so forth. So it's a very fine line, very fine line. Even there are a science which is talking about some people cannot go there. That we need a professional to help them get out of the panic, get out of the, you know, I mean, a panic attack could raise the blood pressure, could raise the whole thing, could affect us physically tremendously. And you don't know how to hold that differently because even we cannot sit down to the first step, which is that concentration meditation. To keep the mind in that object, to build in that concentration, tranquility, and strength. For that end, let's do our first concentration meditation. I believe all of you know the drill, and then what I need to do is just to meditate. I'm gonna put my time over here, and then see how we go into that timer and put that and timer for working for us. There you go. So take one deep breath. Last time we talking about the awakening, the process, and today we wanna go about awareness. The premise of that Buddhism training is that the quality of our experience is determined by the mind. So I can change the quality of that experience if I training the mind for that changing taking place. So if I train in my mind, we can change the quality of our experiences. And that's when we're talking about the awareness, the awakening. It's a process to engage in this training. Okay, I'm going to be in the process of awakening, training my mind. But then that changing is to change the, the I will say one word, but I don't think it's proper. It's to change our consciousness, our awareness, in order to understanding that. Because everything's it is our inner perspective, the reaction we have, the pattern of behavior we have, no dependable. Everybody is just the trigger. We are the one who have that the greatest effect on that experience when that pattern of behavior is activated. So when we're talking about phenomena, the reality, and so forth, there are many things we can see it. But the central premises of that training are the Buddhism, like Buddhism philosophy is one to say, listen, we do have this unbelievable potential, but that is hidden. And we are pretty much, driven by that unconscious force. And most of them, the power of that unconscious force affect our emotions, include our emotions, the craving, that inner pattern, the pattern of thought and behavior we have. That will determine our experiences. So now, for a long time, science didn't understood that word consciousness, not to really much about awareness, the field, even though we study the mind, how the neurological we doing the neural pathway, because we cannot, how you get it, how you touch. Now, in the modern world, and it starts to get a little more understanding how that the role of our emotions, it is important, not only for physical health, also for mental health. Then we start to understand our neural network, our conditioned behavior, and then how we are conditioned in that kind of behavior we have. So those, I don't know how to put a word, therapists, these masters, yogis, that those things, persons, which were engaged into that kind of training, they are able to observe the role of that inner force in our life. And then they have been perceived that over 2,000 years ago. It's remarkable, that clarity, that insight, and for us. So then the fundamental ideas is that training, it is better understood as the path of transformation. That's what it is. When you make that equivalent as a religion or other path, it's not into the path of transformation per se. Please, there are some benefits. There are something I will talk about to elevate the mind in a much pristine clarity, much pristine awareness. Then we have to engage into that awakening as a process, is the training. And then when we get that, become up, and then we have the awareness of it, is that light into that inner potential we have, is the light of enlightenment. That's why the term enlightenment came about. So the premises of that training is to subdue, to know, to transform that unconscious forces, which have a big impact in our experience. So when you're talking about our emotions and cravings and what we have today, well, like dislike, don't like might be, my language, I like this person, don't like this person, have all of those things come from our personal version of reality, our inner stories, our inner pattern. So, and then this is where meditation is the fundamental tool for myself to get understanding what is that inner pattern I have, what's my inner stories, what the personal version reality I have, what I understand reality. And that's coming when they have a peaceful and forceful mind to peaceful, a potent mind to hold myself into the object, for myself to engage into the analytical meditation. Otherwise, we go into this automatic pilot of our mental imprints. We just react, and that take our inner role in our experiences. Something, if people say something, trigger, we react. So then sometimes we engage into career, relationship. Hey, there are many Buddhist scholars know very well the words. Doesn't mean they are not into the automatic path. That's what sometimes I say for many students of mine, and I have said many times, give me the book of Cook, I'll teach you. Because I mean, maybe you'll not become a great chef, a Michelin chef, 3, 4, 5 stars, don't know. But you have to start because the point is you have awareness of the phenomena that's going on. And then you'll be able to grow up, meaning grow up, engage in a much more profound path, and so forth and so on. So we need to examine who we are. We need to know our behavior. We need to be clear, have to have awareness of the, the personal version of reality. Because we need to unfold that hidden mental imprints we have. So that's what happened in the world. That's the way the world are. We have many knowledge. No mistake me. Science and many knowledge go into that. But yet, that inner transformation is something else. We have brilliant persons, engineers, investors, how they call visionaries in science, how they call inventors in science, not much. They are distracted from those brilliancies, serve the world, but not serve the community as a whole, to determine all lives matter, meaning all sentient beings, all beings is wonderful and have a wonderful potency. So that training, that path, that Buddhism path, have the role is to awaken us. The role of the awakening, that the understanding the structure of that inner force. And then you can transform. By having that awareness of that actions, the behavior, the world around us, we can refute those instructors which it is afflictive, and bring new structure for us to feel good. The way we react properly, wisely, and live in a health community into that. So, because that, let's do one more concentration. Let's do one more analytical meditation for that. Oh, excuse me. Concentration meditation. Let's do a little one more cycle of concentration meditation. mentioned about that memory imprint we have, our inner pattern and story. So when you're talking about awareness, sometimes it's difficult because we don't know even how to start. We don't know how to start that. Hello? I don't know how to start that. So, I think I do have a little, just be that way. So, and the we don't know how to start to examine who we are. That's one of the reasons I say, well, why not to get that book, The Pig Wants to Be Eaten, and talk that, have a little conversation with friends and put that and keep doing that kind of, discussion, debate. I believe when you put that on the table in a 3 or 4 exercise, it's too boring. Too boring. A change. Let's do something else. The reason I put that is for us to really to understanding how incoherent we are. We don't have cohesion in thoughts. It's me, I, not the others. Not to putting back. To understand and be in a sense of equanimity. This is the first step for that awareness coming up. The awareness of our actions, beliefs, behavior, the world around us, how we feel, how the others reacting, how I react, how the others feel. And then we stop a little bit at that game, your fault, my fault, this kind of back and forth, one and the other, and so forth and so on. How be able to bring a little more clarity, more understanding. So, and that's where we go about and understanding that path more. We start to understand the nuances of that inner pattern, how that inner work doing. There are much more. We face more reality in different way. That's the way of learning to growth. And, and then we say, boom, this is not about others. This has to do with me. That me is that structure which have been generated. And then, slowly, when I start to perceive that, or perceive myself, the basis in which I operated, so that automatic palette not become so automatic, we will be in the middle of the storm, but we start to get control of it. We perceive the world a little different. There are more clarity, more insight. If you put in a word, there are less affliction, more peace, more inner peace, more tranquility, more harmony. Question is the following. How I do it? That's it done by analytical meditation. That's one of the reasons analytical meditation is very important. And that's what I have said several times with people around me now. We are publicly saying, take time to understand and to do a real analytical meditation. Everything is preparatory. And then we know what means that, automatic pilot, who does understand, what that means awareness, what awareness means, how I understand awareness, and what is the role of that awareness. So, familiarity coming from teachings like that, reading a book, how, a little exercise into that philosophy of the pig who wants to be eaten because we are not so coherent into that. And when we get familiar with that, then we go to the reasoning, the logic, the science, testimony. And so, look at that tradition, that idea. Pay attention. A lot of you over there. Buddha had this tremendous idea. He didn't build a corporation institution. He created good fellows which understood the past. That good fellows pass on to good fellows, pass on to good fellows. O mundo evolve, but gets so confused, then it's difficult to push that. That's why sometimes I say, how that goes. This is the, not privilege per se, but it is the skill for some to have that awareness, or the world will continue to go around into that automatic pilot, not growth, not know how to distinguish between Black Lives Matter or all lives matter into the real truth, into the true sense of it. It's a very fine line. I'm still learning. Matter of fact, my good goal is the world to have that awareness. But it's difficult. Because meditation is not for me. Analytical meditation is so complicated. You guys, so complicated, over the head. It's not over the head, it's there. But the force of that structure in the pattern, in the stone, don't allow us to be into that path of transformation, of learning. We are really in that structural course into that. So that's why the analytical meditation is very important. Today, I'm not going to lead analytical meditation. I'm just talking about analytical meditation because I want you to generate that strength of the awareness of it. The analytical meditation for you to be aware of that process is to be aware of the awakening, the process of awakening your mind is to unfold your inner potential for clarity, and then be able to really bring the light to your life. Never is late, but we don't know what future means. Future and the end could be tomorrow, or could some point not a century anymore. I believe. Because if we are a century, if you're youngest 15, you have to live 115 years. And I don't believe there are teenagers watching right now, which has been past that time. That's what is important to review and then that discussion and keep going. We can apply that in our lives with the family. Instead of get so much TVs and things that program, get one session of to understanding those inconsistencies of our thoughts. Yeah, I believe we, this group here, is very, 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 very unique, privileged, because we do have a very clear mind into that. At least we are into this path right now. But go a little deeper, more patience. Bring that awareness strong on you of that awakening. Take your practices about Buddhism, this and that. Take away from it. Be aware of the things you're not aware, unaware. Take, open your heart. Get out of the closet. Don't follow the semantic of words. Buddhism, no Buddhism, I'm Democrat, blah, 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 I'm this, I'm nothing, liberal, whatever it is. But just be clear who we are into that, to have a very luminous mind, to have clarity in your awareness. So when you start to put that into perspective from that reasoning in one way, and then how I can apply that. How aware am I of my way of being? And then how aware am I on the way I should want to act or not act and react? To what degree I do act with awareness or unawareness based upon just that primal impulses we have. So I think it's worthwhile if you give a try, if you enhance that awareness. because so many great luminaries has been passing from this year. Not as many as the world is, because it's easy to get contaminated, even that when we are awareness, when you try to cognize, because the poison of it, by the trip, by the point of it, and then we react by anger, jealousy, desire, and so forth, confusion, we don't know, and that build up our list of afflictions. So this is, I guess, would be a good training for this week. Then when you fast those three phases of the analytical meditation, the the how they call familiarity, reasoning, and application, then see what kind of insight comes. So the differences between the concentration meditation, which have the object, and to the analytical meditation, we have to establish the object. And the object to be established is the one result of that reasoning, that analysis we do. How it could apply into that? By the familiarity, the learning. And then, if I have that object, I meditate only for that session, because not going for. If you have to use that object to continue to be the object of concentration, you have to go back to the analysis, back to the checklist, back to the whiteboard, mental whiteboard, Sarah speaking. If that permanent, be permanent, and then you go until you be certain, then you move on to continue to enhance your mind. Because you see your mind get clear and you start to be acting upon that. Meaning, refuting those emotions and the reactions which is not good, and empower those actions and activities which is weak. Not to be like peace. You will have peace inside. We understand that peace inside. We need to empower. Tranquility we have, but we have to empower. And not allow the others, mental factors, those imprints, those in stories, take a hold of us. So, that's where I wish you to continue to have that kind of clarity. This is the awakening the mind. This is the way to awaken the mind. I'm too old. Otherwise, I promise you, I'll become part of be a programmer, program a application, put that in the iPad, and press one button. In a meanwhile, by that light behind me, illuminate your face. Then you become enlightened. Can see yourself. Better. It's a little joke, but thank you. This, see, this pandemic moment has been marvelous for me. The clarity, what my path is, very, very, how they call, not compassion, passion into that. So many cases help. Yes, let's put I am right now YouTube learning, you see the camera collapsing, this and that, try to get it better, and still learning how those software into that. I'll applicate the computer, then get it. Anyhow, it's a process, but patiently, I'm getting there. But one of the things I'm very grateful is to be able to pass those teachings which come from that lineage be- between that Siddhartha Gautama and myself over here. Countless masters has been bringing those up teachings alive. And that's what I would like you to invite friends. When you invite friends because you are convinced, when people look at you and say, what are you doing? Ah, come, initiate them into this new world, new vision. Drop the word of schism, how do I call it? Schism and breaking, I don't know, unite with what wisdom, pristine awareness, clear cognition. When I say the recognition, you perceive things the way are, and absorb that and understanding that. Then together, I believe, into that path, we make a little wave resonance for indeed to create a better world. Meditation, as a Buddhist meditation, is known all over the world now. Before them, now we have. So technology has its merits. Buddha, when he started, 8 people, eight disciples, only. Over centuries, we have millions, but yet the clarity of that top awareness just few because the others get into the religion, get in the things, and get in the mind. And, it's not what I intend. But that's what I like you as to invite friends in our table. Family. Get a book. Oh, family. Oh, don't mention about Buddha, whatever trend. Just put it there. Hey, let's see one statement. For instance, the pig wants to be eaten. Do you think what you think you're thinking? And then when bring that clarity, I say, okay, now we're going to talk later. The language of transformation, lineage, the path, then more specific to training and balance the emotions and so forth and so on until we engage in much better practices and so forth. So I wish you be happy, have a wonderful weekend, wonderful week. Enhance yourself now for having a long life until Friday, until that next Friday life. So with you, take care and all my love and see you soon.